What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Here we have the King of Hell, Roronoa Zoro, making his appearance in One Piece Treasure Cruise. This guy looks absolutely insane. I gotta say, just visually speaking, this looks phenomenal, and this is exactly what we're hoping for, man. This Zoro looks so strong, and that's the thing. A lot of people were really hoping that, you know, with the recent anime episode with Zoro and King, a lot of people wanted this character to come out. It's exactly what's happening. We're getting a new Zoro, we're getting a new King. We're going to be talking about Zoro in this episode. As of the recording of this video, we do not have the information in regards to what King does, or Elba, should I say, but we're going to be talking about Zoro in this video. So shout out to Zoro, man, because this man just looks visually insane. So we do have his information. Let me get to the actual stuff that we can discuss right here. So we have the actual character information, we've got the PvP stuff, so let's jump into it. So Zoro himself is a quick slasher free spirit, which I don't think is much of a surprise. You know, you got Luffy strength, Dex Sanji, quick Zoro, all of them being free spirit. Zoro being super tandem goes with Rush Sanji, and then you got final tap Luffy. There's great synergy across the board here, and that's exactly what they want you to do. They want you to use all three of these anniversary straw hats together on the same team to get massive damage potential. So let's go ahead and talk about him. You can see he doesn't have super type or super class, which is exactly what we thought. Remember, in the in-game files, we knew that there was an Enma gauge related thing coming out for Zoro, and that's exactly what this is going to be. Let's talk about his captain ability. So it's a lot to digest, but we actually don't have all of the information in regards to what Zoro does as a captain quite yet. We only have some very bare bones information. So Zoro's captain reduces cooldown of Strength X Quick by 2 turns, and then Free Spirit and Slashes receive a further 1 turn of cooldown, very similar to Sanji and Luffy Yamato. And then you've got the 5.25 times captain to slash a Free Spirit, 1.5 times HP, makes tandem slots matching, so pretty stock standard here. If a character normal attack is super effective against the enemy's type, while you have a recovery or a tandem slot, that slot will be changed into a Wano slot. So it is kind of annoying, and it's kind of weird that it's like an inverse version of Legend Rush Sanji. Legend Sanji said that if you attack super effectively, you just get a recovery slot. This guy now says if you have a recovery slot and you attack super effectively, that slot is now a Wano slot, but you need to have recovery or tandem first. So it makes it like, you know, use Sanji, you switch into the captain position, you generate those recovery slots by hitting super effectively, and then when he disappears from the captain and Zoro is the captain, then those slots will be changed into Wano. But I mean, if you run them as a hybrid sense, I assume that they would stack in that way too. So there's lots to like here. I think it's pretty cool, but I feel like this effect is actually really difficult to abuse to generate these Wano slots, honestly. But a little bit further, it says you get the captain action, which is Enma. Activates at the start of the quest when character is a captain, friend, or helper captain. And then it says the character can use Enma to change the captain ability based on the number of Wano slots that have charged for the gauge. For more details, check the in-game menu. So currently, we actually can't see what this Enma gauge does. So we have to wait until the data download to get the full details as to what Zoro's captain ability actually provides for us. But we just have to take it at face value from what we could see. Cooldown reduction, HP boost, attack boost, tandem slots matching. If you have a recovery or a tandem slot and you attack super effectively, you get a Wano slot. It's going to be really good for like revive sense, because if the enemy revives, you're already going to have these Wano slots, which is really cool. But then we don't really know what the Enma gauge does as a captain. But you got to remember, 5.25 is his attack multiplier, and that's it. So I assume this Enma gauge is going to be very important for generating these really high captain effect multipliers. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. And I would hope that with this Enma gauge, not only does it increase your attack multiplier, but I hope that it also gives you a lot of additional effects too. So that's it in terms of his captain, which in my opinion, I think it's actually kind of an underwhelming captain, but we have to wait and see what Enma does. Let's have a look at the special. Now, no surprise here, the special of Zoro synergizes perfectly with Luffy and Yamato. So the special, 150 times his attack and typeless damage to all enemies, ignoring all defensive effects and base defense. So it's a lot of damage that goes through pretty much everything. and then provides an attack boost to Slasher and Free Spirit, 3.25 for 2 turns, which is pretty much what this batch needed. You know, there wasn't really a legend that came out that really supported these units that gave an attack boost. You had Sanji with the whole chain related stuff and the base attack boost, and then you had Luffy Yamato with the massive orb boost and the increased damage taken, but there was no big attack boost at all, and this is the character that does that. It furthermore says that if the captain is a Slasher or a Free Spirit, it boosts damage dealt to damage taken increased enemies by 2.25 for 2 turns, which is, again, pretty similar to what we were thinking Zoro was going to do, because of the fact that Luffy Yamato have an effect that can inflict increased damage taken to the opponent. Zoro's special will allow you to get a conditional boost against that, which is fantastic. This is like one of the best conditional boosts you can get in the game. Now, if the character has a Wano slot when you launch the special, changes the attack multiplier of tandem slots to a 2.5 times attack boost when they match. So this is big. What this essentially is doing is making tandem slots have the same multiplier as a Wano slot, which is really, really strong. That is incredibly strong, being able to do that. We've had effects like this in the past where they've been able to change the multipliers of slots. We've never seen a multiplier slot change become a 2.5, which is the highest that we've seen of any slot. So as I said, tandem slots are essentially the same capability as Wano in terms of damage potential. But making them tandem is obviously very good, because remember, if you attack super effectively, then you can change these into Wano, but also the fact that you are a super tandem unit, so you actually want to generate these tandem slots. And that's some of the things as well, because sometimes you want to have Wano slots for big damage, but sometimes you want to have tandem slots to generate super tandem. But if you just have the ability where tandem slots are the same power as Wano slots, then it actually doesn't even matter. There is a bit more though. So, once again, if he has a Wano slot when you launch the special, tandem slots become Wano slots in terms of their power. It then says, changes crew slots into tandem, and then changes his own slot into a tandem slot, even though he had the Wano slot. So it says, ignoring inability to change Wano slots. So it just allows you to get a full board of tandem. It doesn't go through block slots though, which is the only thing that is kind of annoying. Maybe his captain action allows you to get around that. I don't know, but there actually isn't a lot of effects in this batch that allow you to get around block slots. I guess maybe Sanji's special is what you're supposed to do here, I assume, but either way, like, the special's really strong and synergizes really well with Sanji and Luffy Yamato. But the thing is outside of that batch, I don't know how useful this special is really going to be. Unless if you have a way to generate a Wano slot on himself, you're not really going to see this additional effect here. And the increased damage taken obviously is very good, like the increased damage taken conditional boost. But the thing is there aren't a lot of Slasher or Free Spirit characters that actually inflict the enemy with this debuff. A lot of the time, that debuff is really reserved for the villain type characters. So that is kind of interesting. I really hope that we get more Free Spirit or Slasher characters that can inflict it, as this Zoro will really love characters that do that. Unless if his captain action is able to do it too. Kind of like a hybrid Kaido from last anniversary, where if he has a Wano slot and he taps, you can inflict increased damage taken to the opponent through immunity. If he has an effect like that with his Enma gauge, that would be wicked. I really hope that is the case. But the 3.25 attack boost is obviously very good. Very, very strong. Continuing on with the rest of his abilities, his first crewmate ability allows him to get a Wano slot at the start of the quest, which is good. And his other crewmate ability makes him immune to paralysis, which is like kind of whatever. As for his support effect, it attaches only to Usopp and Frankie, and it cuts the crew's HP by 20%, and then reduces that character's cooldown by 1 turn, and gives them a Wano slot at the start of the final battle. This is a very good support. Being able to cut your crew's HP when you enter the final stage is really strong. If the opponent inflicts stun to your crew, you can use this to get around that, but also being able to generate a Wano slot and cooldown reduction supports are always useful to have too. So it's a pretty good support effect, all things considered. And of course, he has Super Tandem. Now, the Super Tandem does require 2 of the Straw Hats to be on the crew, but you can also use Yamato, Oden, Hiyori, and Mihawk. So I like the fact that they add a very big pool of characters, including characters that synergize well with Zoro, because, you know, obviously a lot of Odens, Hiyoris, and Mihawks are actually slashers. So good synergy across the board there. Now, the effect will give a 2.5 tandem attack boost to Slashers and Free Spirit for 1 turn. That's level 5, by the way, but that's a very strong 2.5 times attack boost tandem, and increases the crew's damage up effects by 0.25. 2.5. So I wanted to double check this, and I did confirm that when I read the information of Legend Nami in game, the Super Tandem Nami that came out during New Year's, her wording is the exact same. So what this is this will increase the power of your conditional boosts by 0.25. So it means that Zoro's conditional boost to get increased damage taken conditional will be buffed to a 2.5 times conditional. But it means if you use like Legend Robin, for example, which can inflict a defense down conditional boost that will stack with Zoro being able to get 2 conditional boosts at the same time, this will buff, Zoro's conditional boost and Robin's conditional boost. This is just an alternate way to utilize Legend Robin in a Super Boss Kizuna scenario, which is really cool. So lots of damage output, obviously. And it seems pretty good, but at the same time, Legend Nami's Super Tandem is still technically better. Even though Nami's Super Tandem is a 2.25 attack boost, she actually buffs the conditionals by 0.5. And if you're buffing 2 conditionals by 0.5 rather than both conditionals by 0.25, it is actually better. So, Legend Nami does have a better tandem effect, but at the same time, if you're able to abuse increased damage taken with all of these conditional boosts, it does ultimately become better. So I can see what they're doing here, and it's basically just a new way to abuse Legend Robin in a Super Boss Kizuna scenario. But that's all the information that we have for Zoro's regular kit. We just have to wait and see, what his Captain Action Enma is going to do. But in terms of normal content, he seems really cool and visually very appealing. I just don't know how often this character is going to see a lot of play, but I do love the visual aspect of this character. And of course, we need to talk about what he does in Rumble. So as expected, he's basically another character to synergize with Sanji and Luffy Yamato in Pirate Rumble. However, in my opinion, I don't think this character is going to see a lot of play just yet, and I'll talk about that why in just a moment. So let's have a look. His Rumble special is going to be 33 CT, which is pretty high. Your Free Spirit teammates get guard up and defense up level 5. He provokes on himself for 30 seconds. And then when he has 50% or less HP, then he does a medium range level 5 attack and defense up to the crew. So that is cool, but having to be below 50% for that is kind of annoying. It is what it is, but that's a really annoying component. Then if Luffy is on the team, he gives himself a level 6 attack buff and a 4 times counter stance for 30 seconds. So you can understand what you're supposed to do here. This character is a very defensively focused unit. He provides a lot of bulk, and he provokes on himself so that he takes a lot of single target damage, and he allows you to counter back with it, which is also kind of cool, I guess. It depends on how good the counter obviously is, but we've seen in the past, countering in Rumble hasn't always been the most successful, but the fact that it's a 4 times counter and he does give himself further attack buffs, potentially this could be very, very good. But it's the big thing that you have to be below 50% to get the attack and defense increase, or the further defense increase, because he does always give level 5 defense and level 5 guard, so it is still a lot of bulk. And then when you have a look at his Rumble ability, Free Spirit, level 6 HP, level 6 defense, level 6 guard rate up. He revives himself up to 1 time at 50% HP. So when he revives and he launches his special, he's obviously going to get the really cool mechanic of further attack and defense. Furthermore, if Luffy's on the team, Free Spirit, level 5 speed, level 5 blow away. Not a big fan of blow away percent, not really always a useful mechanic, but further speed increase, which synergizes with Sanji, making the team extremely fast. This is a very interesting team, I would love to try it out and see how good it actually is, but in my opinion, I think people are still often going to resort to V2 Rayleigh, mainly because the character's been out for a very long time, and a lot of people at least, have investments in that Rayleigh, because he was very much required for the Grand Voyage versus Arlong. So at least a lot of people that have beaten that will have their Rayleigh at 150, limit break expanded, level limit break 5, completely capped out, and having a character that already provides a lot of bulk and can also do fixed damage, in a pretty good range, where Zoro doesn't do any damage himself. He's very defensively focused. I don't know if this character is going to see a lot of play over V2 Rayleigh, at least for right now. Until more people get investments on this Zoro, then people might shift, but I'm not too sure. It seems interesting. I want to try it out either way. The Grand Party stuff, the opponent has to use their Rumble special 7 times against you for his burst, and it targets 3 high defense enemies for 2.5 times attack that goes through defense. That seems very, very good. And then 2 teammates with low HP get defense level 6. it's fine. I don't think this is going to see a lot of play when you've got a character like Roger roaming around. And then his leader skill in Grand Party gives free spirit attack and HP level 6, CT speed up level 2. It's very good. Slashes get recovery speed, crit up level 4, and then quick receive guard up, speed up, defense up. So I mean, it's fine. It's usable. I just don't think it's going to see a lot of play when you got Roger, because Roger's just so unbelievably broken. But that's what he does in Rumble. I think a lot of people are going to be hyped for the Zoro for sure. But, you know, as I said, I feel like out of all the Anniversary Legends that have come out thus far, in terms of the Super Sugo-Fest exclusive ones, being Luffy Yamato, Sanji, and Zoro, I feel like Sanji's the most valuable out of the three of them. Despite the fact Zoro is really cool, and he's definitely going to be useful in the upcoming Kizuna Clash, which we assume it's going to be for. I feel like Sanji is the most valuable one to own because his mechanics can synergize really well with characters that we already have. Whereas, like, I feel like if you got Zoro, you really want Luffy Yamato if you have Zoro. And if you got Luffy Yamato, you really want Zoro. If you've got Zoro, you really want Luffy Yamato. Like, those two characters work so well together. But the Sanji can work well with this, can work well with all the other old characters as well. So that's my breakdown of Legend Zoro. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on the new Zoro character down below in the comment section, because this guy looks absolutely beastly, especially when you have a look at this ink effect as well. He looks so freaking cool. So that is going to wrap it up from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.